Dear students, today I'll talk about the poem A Prayer for My Daughter by W.B. Yeats. A word about Yeats. William Butler Yeats was an illustrious Irish poet, writer, and playwright. He was a staunch Irish nationalist who continued to espouse this cause all his life. At the prime of his youth, at the age of 24, he met the woman Maud Gonne. She too was an ardent votary of the Irish cause. Yeats was enamored of her for her dedication, energy, and of course her beauty. Yeats's mind was swept with love for Maud Gonne, but she remained aloof. Yeats proposed to her as many as 4 times, but she declined to reciprocate. She chose to marry Major John McBride. It left Yeats distraught and dejected. Later, Yeats married Georgie Hyde Lees. She bore him 2 children, Annie and Michael. The memory of Mordaunt remained etched in Yeats's mind, making her the muse for many of his great literary works later. This poem was written by Yeats when Annie was a tender infant. It expresses his love and concern for Anne. The First World War had just drawn to a close, leaving a trail of death and destruction on Europe. Inside Ireland, there was a surge of Irish nationalism and Catholicism. Life was hard in Ireland then. Want, unrest, upheaval, and discontent made life hard for the ordinary citizens. There was frustration, angst, and fear. Yeats did not escape this air of despondency. In this backdrop, he penned this poem for the little baby whom he loved so much. A prayer for my daughter is a reflection of the poet's love for his daughter. It is also about surviving the turmoil of the contemporary world, where passions have been separated from reason. The setting of the poem is unspecified. The speaker is the poet himself talking to his daughter. The tone is gloomy, precarious, and frightening, as well as didactic. A prayer for my daughter demonstrates the poet's concern and anxiety over the future well-being and prospects of his daughter Annie. He has written the poem in 1919, shortly after her birth and World War II, so the ongoing unsettling feel is visible in the background and the poet's mind. The poem appeared for the first time in his poetry collection, Michael Roberta's and the Dancer in 1921. Form and structure. The poem, written in the lyric form containing 10 8-line stanzas. The stanza form is the same as employed by him in memory of Major Robert Gregory. Each stanza follows a regular rhyme scheme of AABB, CDDC. The poem follows a metrical structure that alternates between iambic pentameter and crosswise pentameter. The poem is structured as a poet's appeal to God and to his daughter on how he wants her to be like as she grows up. Theme and setting. The poem portrays the theme of love and anxiety of a father who has been blessed with a daughter. It also presents the poet's hope for his daughter and his expectation of her becoming a very beautiful woman, blessed with the attributes of a virtuous soul. The setting of the poem is uncertain, but the poem is conceived in the mind of the poet. The speaker is the poet himself talking to his daughter. The poem is conversational and didactic in tone, with varying emotions of gloom, uncertainty, hope, and fear. Stanza 1. Once more the storm is howling, and half hid under this cradle hood and coverlet, my child sleeps on. There's no obstacle but Gregory's Wood and one bare hill, whereby the haystack and roof-leveling wind, bred on the Atlantic, can be stayed. And for an hour I have walked and prayed because of the great gloom that is in my mind. The poem opens with the image of the child sleeping in a cradle, half hidden by its hood. The child sleeps innocently amidst the howling storm outside, but Yeats couldn't settle down due to the storm inside. The storm howling symbolizes destruction mentioned by the poet in his second coming. The innocent little infant Annie is fast asleep in her cradle. The hood of the cradle half covers the cradle. A fury storm coming from the Atlantic batters everything outside the house. The bare hill and the woods bear the brunt of the storm. The haystack and the roof can barely stand the thrust of the raging winds. The wind bred in Atlantic has no obstacle except the estate of Lady Gregory, referring to the poet's patroness and the bare hill. Annie, oblivious of the fury of nature outside, sleeps, but her father is filled with worries about her safety and the rearing in the hard times that ahead. In reality, Yeats was strolling when these disturbing thoughts grip his mind. He imagines the storm as a symbol of the unraveling difficult times. He is deeply apprehensive about Annie's upbringing. The cradle and its hood that partly cover it are the symbols of the limited security Yeats as a father can provide to Annie. The direct impact of the wind, meaning to the forces of the outside world, especially on his daughter, worries the poet. Because of this great gloom, he walked and prayed for his daughter to be protected from the physical storm outside and the political storm brewing across Ireland. Stanza 2. I have walked and prayed for this young child an hour, and heard the sea wind scream upon the tower, and under the arches of the bridge, and scream in the elms above the flooded stream, imagining an excited reverie that the future years had come, dancing to a frenzied drum out of the murderous innocence of the sea. The poet's sense of gloom deepens as he continues his walk for about an hour. The weather, as conjured by his nervous mind, is violent and destructive. The nature appears to wreak its vengeance on men. A confluence of devastating forces is imagined as the flooded stream that is going to wash away everything on its way. Even the strong and trees are tossed around by the torment unleashed by the winds. The future, in its most hideous form, confronts the author. A little later, the poet sees some light, some respite from the traumatic hallucinations. He thinks of the days to come when Annie would grow up to a world of hope and possibilities. By saying that the future years had come, dancing to a frenzied drum, the author invokes optimism and a permanent respite from the doom and gloom of the prevailing difficult days. Stanza 3. May she be granted beauty, and yet not beauty to make a stranger's eye distraught, or hers before a looking glass, for such being made beautiful overmuch. Consider beauty a sufficient end, lose natural kindness, and may be the heart revealing intimacy that chooses right and never from the friend. Keats hopes that Annie would grow up to be a beautiful damsel, but he does not like her to be a paragon of beauty. In Yeats's view, extreme beauty could be harmful and ruinous for a woman. It might invite jealousy and sarcasm from others. It might make those people distraught who aspire for her hands but can't get it. The spurned lover may even become vengeful towards her. Beauty that inspires wild passion in others is fraught. Beauty often misleads the beholder by giving a false sense that she is a gifted, extraordinary person who has no need of any other desirable qualities. Such vainglorious feeling is unhelpful to a woman. The resulting arrogance may rob her of kindness. Stanza 4. Helen being chosen found life flat and dull, and later had much trouble from a fool, while that great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for a man. It's fine that it's certain that fine women eat a crazy salad with their meat, whereby the horn of plenty is undone. In stanza 4, Yeats substantiates his view on how excessive beauty has always been a source of trouble and destruction. He turns to Helen in Greek mythology, considered to be the most beautiful woman on earth, brought the doom upon her and many others. The image of Helen evokes another figure, Aphrodite, who rose out of the spray. The union of Aphrodite with Hephaestus, bandy-legged Smith, brings to mind the Maud Macbride episode. It makes the poet wonder if the beautiful women eat something stupid for salad, that they make a stupid decision which brings misery forever. The rich horn of plenty is suggestive of courtesy, aristocracy, and ceremony that is lost by those women who make stupid decisions. Stanza 5. In courtesy I'd ever chiefly learned, hearts are not had as a gift, but hearts are earned by those that are not entirely beautiful, yet many that have played the fool, for beauty's very self is charm made wise, and many a poor man that has roved, loved and thought himself beloved from a glad kindness cannot take his eyes. In stanza 4, the poet continues with what he wants his daughter to possess more than mere beauty. He wants his daughter to learn to be compassionate and kind. Many times men who believe to love and loved by the beautiful women face disappointment compared to those found love in the modest yet compassionate women. Moreover, he says, modest and courteous people attract hearts than those with beauty, referring to his own marriage. Ultimately, he makes it clear that he wants his daughter to be an agreeable young woman than an arrogant beauty. Thank you.